crying. You look like I'm crying. Who? I'm not crying. I don't have nothing to cry about.
When your side chick's pregnancy test hits the group chat, it's no longer rubber band man, it's diaper bag dad. Atlanta woke up like it was Judgment Day when leaks hit the internet claiming Shekinah Anderson was pregnant.
Loyalty is when a watch you get drugged by the world and don't stand up for you still. What loyalty? It could have been real easy. Can't wait. My buddy ain't got nothing to do with it. She don't know nothing about my life. Period.
And the alleged baby daddy wasn't some random club promoter, it was none other than T.I., the self-proclaimed king of the South. Fans went from sipping morning coffee to spitting it out all over their phones. The rumor mill went into cardiac arrest, screenshots, whispers, and blurry sonograms.
Life is unfortunate. When people cross over to be with the Lord, it's unfortunate. When you do shit you ain't got no business doing, it's unfortunate. It's called life. And then it's called move on.
Started spreading faster than a Drake diss track. If you're loving the tea, don't forget to like, drop a comment, and hit that subscribe button like it owes you money. Shekinah wasn't some background dancer, she was a rising influencer, always orbiting the edges of celebrity circles. But when those leaked texts dropped showing her friends talking about the king's baby,
we, was about to divorce here and there and breaking up here and there.
Atlanta lit up like it was a TMZ emergency broadcast. Overnight, Shekinah's name jumped from Instagram captions to courtroom speculation. Everyone wanted to know, was this real or another clout-chasing scheme? But the tone changed the second someone claimed medical records leaked, confirming a pregnancy timeline that matched T.I.'s whereabouts.
You asked me, do you think I'm happier that you asked me the question and I answered it? So why would you sit there and say that?
Because I am happy.
But why would you sit there and say that I ain't say that?
Because you did.
I think she's happy. Yes, I did.
Suddenly, it wasn't he said, she said, it was he did, she's keeping it. And Tiny wasn't about to sit this one out. The woman built an empire beside T.I., raised his kids, and now she's watching it all crumble because of a scandal that came with receipts. This wasn't gossip anymore, this was war. One thing was clear, the king of the South might have just crowned himself the clown of Atlanta.
Video ain't really the issue. The video being posted up on social media is the issue. If someone would have sent her that video privately, she and I would have had one conversation about it, and it would have been
Atlanta, the city that once screamed tip, was now whispering DNA tests, and as social media tore him apart, one tweet summed it up best. Ty been teaching us about family values while making his own on the side. Hell hath no fury like a woman who just found out her husband's royal crown got someone else pregnant. When Tiny went public demanding a DNA test, the internet didn't just hear her, it felt her. This wasn't a PR stunt. This was a woman snapping after years of public humiliation, loyalty, and side eyes from every woman T.I. ever mentored. Tiny turned this from gossip to a full-blown family crisis. For years, Tiny stood by T.I. through cheating rumors, jail time, and PR disasters. But this was different. A baby was proof, not just a rumor. Suddenly, she wasn't the quiet wife anymore. She was the queen going to war with the king.
They heard me say it. I said that. If I was on there, I said that.
Turn around, please. You did not.
Shekinah, you stopped them and I said the same
thing. Fans flooded her comments with love, calling her a real one, while others roasted T.I. for turning his marriage into a Maury episode. Memes started flying, T.I. holding a baby and Maury yelling, "You are the father." Even celebrities couldn't resist. Tamar Braxton tweeted a single word, "Damn." T.I. stayed quiet, big mistake, because silence during a scandal doesn't read as innocent. It reads as guilty and scrambling for a lawyer. And Tiny? She was out there reclaiming her power in real time, reminding the world she's not just T.I.'s wife, she's Tamika Harris, the woman who built her name before he ever wore a crown. By the time the news networks picked it up, it wasn't rumored affair.
Afraid of that, and it did put some strain on our relationship. If you see him, you know.
It was Tiny demands DNA tests amid cheating allegations. Every major outlet had her quote, every headline had her face, and T.I., the man who once ran Atlanta, was now running from paternity drama. Nothing says loyal husband like booking a hotel suite that doubles as a crime scene for your marriage. The moment leaked medical records matched Shekinah's conception date with T.I.'s stay at an Atlanta hotel, everyone's jaws dropped. Suddenly, this wasn't rumor season, it was receipts season. The dates lined up too perfectly, like the universe was tired of protecting this man. Shekinah's OB/GYN records, allegedly leaked by an anonymous insider, pointed to a conception window that matched T.I.'s exact hotel reservation dates. Internet detectives went feral, pulling footage, receipts, and digital breadcrumbs. Within hours, they had hotel staff saying he was definitely here. Now, T.I. had spent years building his image as a reformed family man, doing podcasts about marriage and loyalty, but that hotel check-in turned his brand from motivational to manipulational. Tiny's heart might have been breaking, but the internet was having a field day. Even worse, a whistleblower hinted there was security footage, and that alone sent fans in a conspiracy meltdown. The king who once preached discipline and integrity was now being dragged as a hypocrite in designer sneakers. The irony was poetic. The same city that once hailed him as Atlanta royalty was now watching him become a meme. You can't spell hotel without hell, and that's exactly where T.I. found himself: room service, regret, and receipts. When your side chick starts texting like she's narrating a Lifetime movie, it's officially over for your I'm innocent act. Just when the scandal couldn't get messier, screenshots dropped, and not the blurry could be anyone kind. These were crystal clear, time-stamped, emoji-laden confessions from Shekinah herself. In one leaked message, she allegedly said, "If the DNA test comes out, T.I. loses everything." Boom. That single sentence turned the internet into a digital war zone. These weren't fan theories anymore, these were receipts with blood on them. The screenshots painted a picture of a woman torn between keeping quiet and cashing out. Some messages hinted that T.I. had promised to take care of her, others implied she had proof that could end his empire. And that's when the term whistleblower entered the chat. Some anonymous insider leaked the screenshots to a gossip blog, and within hours, #Shekinah leaks was trending. Fans started dissecting every word like detectives on espresso. The internet jury had spoken, T.I. was cooked. But here's the twist: some people claim Shekinah was being manipulated, that she'd been set up to leak just enough to destroy him but not enough to cash in. Others said she was doing it for clout, chasing 15 minutes of fame off the king's downfall. Either way, she had the spotlight and it burned. T.I. meanwhile went ghost. No statement, no denial, no explanation, just silence, the kind that screams guilt louder than any headline. If your marriage hits the courtroom and the soundtrack is your own voice saying, "I'll handle Tiny," congratulations, you've lost the plot and the prenup. The trial was already chaos before the audio even played, but when that recording dropped, the courtroom turned into a live episode of Love Hip Hop Judgment Day. The audio, allegedly featuring T.I.'s voice, said, "Don't worry, I'll handle Tiny," and you could feel the air leave the room. Tiny's face reportedly went pale before she broke down right there in front of the judge, tears, disbelief, heartbreak in HD. The woman who'd been holding it together for months finally cracked, and the world watched. Cameras flashed, reporters scribbled, and fans flooded the court steps, chanting her name like she was Beyonce walking out of Lemonade 2.0. The prosecution leaned in hard, painting T.I. as a manipulative mastermind trying to silence both women. His defense tried to argue context, but come on. There's no context where "I'll handle Tiny" sounds good. The public was eating it up. Memes of Tiny crying hit social media within minutes. Clips of fans outside the courthouse chanting "Justice for Tiny" went viral. Even rival rappers threw shade. One tweet read, "Handle Tiny, should've handled your zipper instead." That audio wasn't just evidence, it was the nail in the coffin. Because once people heard it, there was no more doubt, no more PR cleanup. The King of the South had just admitted he couldn't control his empire or his ego. Nothing ends a debate faster than science dropping the mic with a 99.9%. One night, after weeks of chaos, speculation, and courtroom theatrics, the truth finally arrived. The DNA results were in, and they didn't whisper. They screamed. 99.9% certainty T.I. was the father. You could practically hear Maury Povich in the distance yelling, "You are the father." The moment those results hit, the courtroom exploded. Shekinah cried. Tiny stormed out. T.I. sat frozen, face blank, career flashing before his eyes. Outside, the crowd went feral. Fans live tweeted like it was the Super Bowl of scandal. Headlines hit every outlet within minutes. T.I. confirmed father in explosive paternity case. There was no more hiding, no more spin. This was public humiliation in HD. Every sponsor, brand, and label that once called him a family man was suddenly hitting unsubscribe. But here's where it gets darker. Insiders claim T.I. tried to negotiate silence before the results went public, allegedly offering money to keep it quiet. But once that 99.9% came out, no bag on earth could save him. Tiny's silence after that result, louder than any press conference. Fans said it best: she's not crying anymore, she's calculating. That test didn't just expose a father, it exposed a fraud. Leave it to T.I. to lose his family, his career, and still find time to clown about it. Ego has Wi-Fi and his was fully connected. Just when people thought T.I. would lay low, the man decided to double down, mocking the whole situation in leaked private clips. In one, he allegedly bragged to friends, "Tiny ain't going nowhere, she knows what it is." That one line lit the internet on fire. Fans went ballistic. Tiny supporters called him delusional. His former friends unfollowed him. Even longtime collaborators publicly distanced themselves, because arrogance after exposure, that's not confidence, that's career suicide in a designer suit. Social media dragged him mercilessly. TikToks, memes, parodies, all portraying him as the toxic husband of the decade. One viral tweet said, "T.I. out here losing everything but still acting like he's the prize." And the fallout was brutal. His reality show pulled, sponsorships gone, his fan base divided like a courtroom. For a man who once called himself king, he'd become the gesture of his own downfall. The saddest part? Tiny saw those clips too. You could feel the pain in her silence, not the kind that screams, but the kind that plots. She cried, then she lawyered up, and now she's coming for half the kingdom. When Tiny finally filed for divorce, the world cheered like it was Independence Day. The filing was brutal, full custody, half his assets, and compensation for emotional trauma. This wasn't heartbreak anymore, this was strategy. Fans called it her revenge era. She showed up to court like she was walking a red carpet, calm, radiant, unstoppable. Meanwhile, T.I. looked like a man who realized too late that swagger doesn't work on judges. Tiny became a symbol of strength, the woman who survived betrayal and built an empire out of ashes. Endorsements poured in. Talk shows begged for interviews, and for the first time the narrative flipped. She was the headliner, and he was the cautionary tale. As for Shekinah, the internet turned on her. Death threats, canceled brand deals, isolation. She became a ghost in the story she started. Everyone blamed her for the spark, but the real explosion came from T.I.'s choices. By the end of it, the king of the South stood alone, no wife, no crown, no legacy untarnished. Tiny walked away with her dignity, her kids, and the last word. And that's how the empire fell, not with a bang, but with a paternity test. They called him the king of the South, but what's a king without a queen, a crown, or common sense? This scandal wasn't just a fall from grace, it was a public execution of ego. Live streamed for the world to witness. 1 minute, T.I. was Atlanta royalty, the man who turned trap into an empire, loyalty into lyrics, and his family into a brand. The next minute, he's trending for all the wrong reasons, a DNA test, a side chick, and a courtroom meltdown that looked more like a season finale than a trial. What makes it poetic is how predictable it all was. Power makes men sloppy, ego makes them reckless, and T.I. had both wrapped in fame, money, and a lifetime supply of "it won't happen to me." But when you play God with people's trust, karma doesn't knock, it kicks down the door. Tiny didn't just survive, she reinvented herself. She walked out of that courtroom not as T.I.'s wife, but as the woman who ended a dynasty with quiet fury and perfect eyeliner. She turned humiliation into a headline and betrayal into a brand. The internet crowned her the people's queen, not because she stayed, but because she finally left. Shekinah. She learned what every other woman learns too late, that the man who betrays his wife will eventually betray you too. She went from whispers to threats to silence, and the fame she chased became a shadow that swallowed her whole. And T.I.? He's the cautionary tale for every man who thought charisma could outrun consequence. His downfall wasn't random, it was earned, verse by verse, lie by lie, hotel by hotel. The empire didn't collapse overnight, he bulldozed it, one bad decision at a time. Now the only crown he's wearing is the weight of his own mistakes. The king of the South became the court jester of his own scandal, and his legacy, once golden, is now just gossip fodder. So remember this, folks' fame can buy followers, but it can't buy forgiveness. And when the truth finally hits the fan, even kings bleed like common men. When the dust finally settled, the story wasn't about a scandal, it was about self-destruction in real time. Ty didn't just lose a marriage, he lost an entire kingdom he built on loyalty, respect, and control, 3 things that evaporated the second his ego took the wheel. The truth is, this wasn't a hit job. Nobody came for him, he came for himself. Every lie, every secret hotel stay, every "I'll handle Tiny" moment, that was T.I. lighting another match and daring the world to watch him burn. And oh, did we watch. The man who once rapped about family values became a walking contradiction. He used to be the soundtrack of the streets, now he's the headline for heartbreak. Once a mentor, now a meme. Once a king, now a cautionary tale. Tiny though, she turned pain into power. She didn't just survive the explosion, she walked out of it glowing. She turned her silence into strategy and her heartbreak into history. While T.I. was busy making excuses, she was busy making moves. She became the blueprint for every woman who ever said enough. And Shekinah, she got what she wanted, attention. But it came with a curse. Fame without foundation is just fire with gasoline. Once the clout faded, she was left holding the match that burned down a legacy. Now T.I. sits in the rubble, no wife, no crown, no moral high ground. Just a reminder that reputation doesn't protect you when receipts come knocking. The king of the South didn't fall to enemies, he fell to his own reflection. And that's the real tragedy, not that he lost Tiny or the fans or the money. It's that he lost the one thing he swore he'd never betray, his own legend. Because when the mic cuts off and the lights go out, every king faces the same question: what's left when the throne is gone? And the truth is all that's left standing